How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of Beared Down Uncut, where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. Running back David Montgomery went down with a scary injury today at training camp. We've got all that for you and more today in episode number 69 of Uncut. Welcome back to the show, guys. Big injury today for David. Luckily, the news is not as bad as it seems. We're going to delve into it in just a second. I would like to say, if you are new to the channel and want Bears content like this every day of the week, do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications whenever we post, and also if you are returning to the channel, do us a favor and drop a like on this video, as it would definitely help us out a lot. I am your host, Chris Malpe, and today I am joined with my co-host, Jaylen McClinton. Jaylen, without revealing anything about the injury until I break the news, what were your thoughts when Montgomery went down this morning, and how are you doing?
I'm doing great. And when I heard about the Montgomery injury, kind of got nervous at first because this is our main running back. This is a person who's going to help be a key to our offense, especially with the iffy quarterback play that we had last season. So that's how I felt. I was kind of scared at first, but that's about it.
So David Montgomery, obviously entering his second year in the league, 889 rushing yards in his rookie season, as well as 6 touchdowns, was carted away from today's practice after injuring his left leg. That injury ended up to be believed to be a groin strain, per sources including Tom Pelissero and Adam Schefter. So it looks like the timeline for Montgomery being out is about 6 weeks. We've been speaking highly about Montgomery throughout this training camp process. Just a couple days ago, we recorded a video about how he slimmed down and started to try and bulk up and gain more muscle and cut weight, kind of do body recomp, I guess. Also, a lot of reporters saying he's looking a lot slimmer, a lot more shiftier, a lot faster. So there's a lot to look forward to for David Montgomery this season, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to get him back on the field around week 3, week 4. But Jaylen, what does losing him mean for the Bears? Obviously, Tariq Cohen probably now steps into the running back 1 role unless the Bears look to sign someone, which we will discuss later on at this podcast. But he suffered a groin injury, and it puts the Bears in a little bit of a weaker spot now with Cordarrelle Patterson, someone who's just picking up the running back position, moving up to running back 2. So what does this loss mean for the Bears?
That we really don't have a bell cow running back like he was, or we're probably going to have to rely on a committee, whether it's with Tariq and Cordell and Ryan Null or Artavis Pierce, whoever makes the roster. That's pretty much what that means, unless we sign somebody in free agency, which, like you said, we'll talk about later on. But if he's out for a long period of time, this is definitely a big injury for the Bears offense. The offense already is not, it's not that reliable. We don't know what we're going to get out this offense this season. So if we lose David, that's a big part of our run game. It's sad to hear about. Hopefully everything's okay. Definitely.
Absolutely. Jaylen, you hit it on the head. The Bears are going to lose their bell cow running back here for a couple of weeks. And I think bringing in someone could be a decent idea with the amount of cap space we have from losing players like Eddie Goldman. So I don't think it's a bad idea. We're going to need someone to be able to run the ball. I've said it all offseason. This was going to be a big year for David Montgomery in my eyes if the offensive line can be salvageable, which I think it will be. And, so now the Bears may be looking for a replacement. So let's get right into that. Let's take a look at some of the unsigned free agent running backs available. Obviously, before I get into this, I would like to say this is not us giving up on Montgomery whatsoever. I think we both just agreed that it's smart to bring in someone else to be able to carry the load for a couple weeks, so let's get right into it. Some unsigned running backs include Devontae Freeman, Marshawn Lynch, Robert Turman, Jeremy Hill, Spencer Ware, Bilal Powell, and C.J. Prosise, among many names. Jaylen, there's a lot of interesting names there. Spencer Ware, someone who worked with Matt Nagy down in Kansas City before. Devontae Freeman, someone who claims to be in really good shape, ready to play in the NFL yet again. And you also have to look at Cleveland and look at Kareem Hunt. Obviously you don't want to force a trade and bring in someone who isn't going to play for long, but if his price is cheap, maybe I could see Ryan Pace pulling a play there and trying to bring in Kareem Hunt, someone who the Bears almost signed after his whole discrepancy a couple of years ago. There was a little bit of interest there. So what do you think? If the Bears do look to bring in a replacement, who interests you?
Personally, nobody on that list interests me at all. Devontae Freeman, is not the same Devontae Freeman from when the Falcons went to the Super Bowl. Obviously, he's a couple years older. He had a couple injuries here and there, and everybody else on that list, I don't think could come in and be our number one running back consistently and be able to be able to rely on that running back. Obviously, other than Devontae Freeman, but like I said, I don't think he's the same running back. So personally, I wouldn't sign anybody on the list you just named. I would just go with the committee if that what it comes down to. But the Kareem Hunt idea, I definitely wouldn't be mad about that. But I highly doubt Cleveland trades their second best running back. But I would definitely trade for Kareem Hunt if it did come down to that.
Yeah, and that's why Spencer Ware interests me. He's not Kareem Hunt, but he still knows a lot about this offense. He was successful with the Chiefs a few years ago. We've got a video of the Montgomery injury right now. It just looks like he took a handoff from Mitch and slipped, and yeah, it's unfortunate. We don't know the severity of the injury yet. I did say that it's about 6 weeks recovery time, but we'll have to see depending on how severe it is. If the Bears look for a replacement, getting back on topic, someone that also interests me is C.J. Prosise. He's someone who the Bears could bring in for cheap. Not essentially a similar running back to Montgomery, but he's pretty good as a pass catcher, also can do it in the run game. Someone that we could bring in for cheap. Long story short, if the Bears do bring in someone, it's going to have to be in someone for cheap. And if they don't, it's going to be a big opportunity for Tariq Cohen to capitalize and hopefully earn an extension in Chicago. So moving on to that point now, obviously, Jaylen, Tariq Cohen, if the Bears don't bring anyone in, like you said, you enjoy that committee. Tariq Cohen, Cordero Patterson, Ryan Nall, maybe even Artavis Pierce are looking to see big-time jumps in their reps in regards to the run game. So what do you think? Tariq Cohen, someone who's vying for an extension in 2021. We've spoke all offseason about how important it is that he plays well. So if he gets the opportunity here to start at running back one, how big is this for him in regards to earning an extension in Chicago?
It would be big for him, especially since he had a down year last season compared to his All-Pro and Pro Bowl season in 2018. His touches went down a lot too. So if he can be the running back one or be the main running back for a couple weeks and get his touches back to what they were in 2018, I definitely feel like he can have way better numbers. Tariq is not a running back one in the NFL. He was able to do it in college, and he was a great running back one in college. But this is a whole different ball game. The players are bigger, players are better tacklers and stuff like that. But if we were able to utilize him like Tariq Cohen is utilized, I think we'll be fine for the couple weeks that David might miss of the regular season.
Yeah, this is going to be a huge opportunity for Tariq Cohen to be able to capitalize if he's going to get the opportunity to be the running back one. I would like to say, based on this, that Matt Nagy did just say he doesn't know whether or not the Bears will look for a replacement for Montgomery. So it seems like the severity of the injury might keep him out a couple of weeks, just based on that. But he did not rule out the fact that they might look to bring someone in. So that's interesting. Jaylen recently said the committee, but it looks like the Bears may be looking elsewhere, at least surveying their options. But overall, I think it's an incredible opportunity for Cohen to be able to prove himself and hopefully earn an extension in Chicago. I think we can all agree that we like Tariq Cohen, but we want the 2018 Tariq Cohen back. We don't want the Cohen that we saw last year where he had 8 more catches, 300 less receiving yards, and was also down a ton in catches. So one more question before we end this one off, Jaylen. This is a big blow to the running game. Do you still think the Bears' running game in general will be able to be productive behind what will be probably a shaky offensive line?
I want to say yes, to be honest, but no, not at all, especially without David. David didn't have the best season last year. He still almost had 900 yards with averaging 3.5 yards a carry, which is not good at all. But behind this offensive line, I'll take that. I'll completely take that, to be honest. But we don't have a running. There's no running back on this roster that can do what David can do for us. He's a do-it-all back. He can catch out the backfield. He's very strong. He breaks a lot of tackles. But I'm not confident in this committee that we have. That's why I wouldn't be opposed to trading for Kareem Hunt. But like I said, I highly doubt that happens at all.
Yeah, I think the Bears do look towards free agency. If they do look to bring someone in, Spencer Ware definitely a name that stands out in regards to familiarity with the offense. A lot of people write off David Montgomery and how important he is in this offense, but if you look at some rookie seasons, let's take a look at Melvin Gordon, 184 attempts, 641 yards and 3.5 yards per carry with 0 touchdowns. Joe Mixon had 178 rushes, 626 yards, 3.5 yards per carry, 4 touchdowns. Someone who David Montgomery has drawn a lot of comparisons to, Le'Veon Bell in his rookie season with the Steelers, had 244 rushes for 860 yards, 3.5 yards per carry, and 8 touchdowns. And then Montgomery himself, 242 attempts, 889 yards, 3.7 yards per carry, and 6 touchdowns. So the value of Montgomery on this offense is definitely one that's overlooked a lot. I think the Bears are going to miss him, but I'm hoping that they'll be able to do whatever they need to be able to be as productive as possible without him playing, at least for the first, I would say, quarter of the season. That'll pretty much do it for episode 69 of Uncut. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to be getting articles up now on our website, bearedddown.com, about some possible replacements for Montgomery. Do us a favor and go check out our website to find columns, articles, and blogs. We're trying to get stuff up there every other day, I would say, get some more content up for you guys. If you want sneak peeks of podcasts, want to help us decide what to record on, or any of that stuff, you can find us on social media, Twitter and Instagram at Beared Down, and you can also find me and Jaylen's fan pages down in the description. Those are some great follows as well. Jaylen McClinton, pretty happy that the Bears will have David Montgomery back, but still scary to see an injury unfold like that. Any last words?
Let's hope David's healthy for the season and be able to lead us into the playoffs like he can. A lot of Bears fans and a lot of people in general are expecting a breakout season from him, and so was I. So for this to kind of delay that is it hurts. It hurts. But if he's healthy and be ready for week 3 or week 2, whenever he's healthy, I'm fine with that. I'm just thankful it's not an ACL injury or something like that, like it was played out to be.
Oh yeah, it's kind of crazy to see how Twitter ravages when stuff like this happens. But that being said, I hope for a quick and speedy recovery for Montgomery, and we're going to see him back on the field soon, and I'm excited to see what he's able to do. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Once again, I am your host, Chris Malpe. Bears fans, do us a favor. Don't go strain your groin. Continue to stay safe. And as always, bear down. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.